Hey, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And welcome back to The Turning Point.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. What episode are we on now?
This is episode 16.
16. Awesome.
16.
I'm very excited.
And for everyone who doesn't know who we are, my name is Tyson Green, co-host of The Turning Point, and we have Aaron, the other co-host.
Hey, nice to meet you.
And tonight, we're talking about selling more. Isn't that awesome? Selling more.
Good. Yes.
Doug will explain how to avoid the 6 major causes of failures in sales. So, one thing I want to ask everyone in the chat right now: who is in sales? Put a number 1 if you are in sales. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
And also, hello, Paulina, Michael. Awesome.
Oh, listen.
Every word said tonight. Doug's helped me significantly with my sales. Grateful. Awesome.
Awesome.
Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca. All right, here comes those ones. John, sales. Rebecca, sales. Awesome. We're those salespeople. We all are. We're all salespeople. That's a good answer.
I like that answer.
I love that answer. So if people are new here, this is a Q&A show with Doug Dane. How this might work for you if you want to ask a question, all you have to do is just submit it in the comment box, and we will bring it up on the screen for Doug to answer. But there is another way, and this is a way that you can come on the show and talk with us right here. And you can ask the dog a question in person and get one-on-one coaching from him right now. So that's awesome.
Right now.
Isn't that awesome?
It's pretty exciting.
Okay, let's go back to those. April. Nice. Rebecca, we all are. Andy, John, awesome.
Excellent. Perfect.
Also, guys, if you guys could give this a nice share, ask Doug Dane. You never know who this might reach. Social media is weird that way. The algorithm's gonna put it to someone who might need this type of show tonight. You never know who might need this. So
I'm excited. I'm not in sales, and I'm excited for tonight's episode. So
me too. I wonder what he's gonna say.
Me too.
So if you guys don't know who Doug is, Doug's life started with abuse and turned it into abundance. And now he's on a mission to show others how they could do the same. So we've created this show, The Turning Point, to reach a lot of people and help them get unstuck fast. And Doug discovered that the turning point can happen very fast for you, and it's actually quite simple. So Doug spent years trying to figure out how to get ahead, and it was really hard and took him a long way. It doesn't have to be that way for you. There could be a better way. Tonight can be your turning point. Let's bring him on. Doug?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. It's a long weekend.
Yes, it is.
Not an April Fool's joke either. Ha.
What's that?
It's not an April Fool's joke. It really is the long weekend.
It's not an April Fool's joke. I picked my daughter up from school. I said, guess what Ontario is doing? She goes, are you joking? Oh, no, I'm not joking.
I
Well, if you're not in Ontario, it doesn't matter. You're not affected, but that's all good. Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm excited about tonight.
Me too. I'm excited about what you're going to say.
You guys are having way too much fun. You love this, don't you?
You can't have too much fun, and yes, we do love it.
And this is our chance to talk to everybody, see everyone and talk to them, like Rebecca, April, Linda, John, Andy.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's good. Well, let's start.
Yeah.
All right.
So, as Tyson said, I created this show because two things I wanted to do. One is I wanted to be able to reach people in an easy way, and this is a really easy way because you're watching right now, maybe you're watching the replay, you can share it. And as Tyson said, hey, we love when you share the show, so hit the share button right now. I just wanted to reach as many people as I could. I was looking for how could I do that? And so we came up with this idea. But more importantly, the name of the Turning Point, the idea behind it was to try to create a turning point on the show for you. So you would just go in a different direction because we're so habitual in the way that we live and the way that we operate. And we just go day to day. Most of us don't really take a look around or even aware of what the hell's going on. And a lot of people are going down the wrong road. They don't even know it. And sometimes it's too late. They go, shit, I'm going down the wrong road. And so I try to just kind of course correct people, but also really change what you're thinking, because what you think is just habitual to, and you've inherited most of the things that you think and believe, and that's what's really controlling you and your results. And so every week I just try to come up with a topic that I think maybe it will help you. And so I've been in sales a long time, and I thought, let's talk about sales. So tonight I want to talk about how to sell more, the secret to selling you, and how to avoid the 6 major causes of failure in sales. Now, the reason most people don't sell very well is because they don't understand people. That's the bottom line. They don't really understand people, and that's why they're not really good at selling. And they certainly don't understand themselves, and so they don't understand what causes people to actually buy from them. So tonight, I'm not going to be talking about sales techniques. If that's what you thought this is about, it's not what this is about. Although I can definitely help you with selling. And so, as Tyson mentioned, we have this share thing, and every week we do a little share contest. And so if you share the show, hit the share button right now, and then type in hashtag Ask Doug Dane, and that's how we track if you shared the show or not. And what I'll do is I'll do a personal one-on-one session with you on where you're at in your sales, in your career, in your business, in your work, whatever you're doing, and I'll do a free coaching session with you on selling. And if you want to work with me and really multiply your sales, you could do that too, and I'll tell you how to do that at the end of the show. So let's just start with the 6 major causes of failure first. Now, when I first got into sales, my first sales job. Well, first off, I grew up in a family, very, very poor, broken family, and the only experience I had with selling was my mom selling Tupperware, and she would sell Tupperware drunk up and down the street, and so I didn't really have a great, attitude towards selling. None of my friends were in selling. Nobody on the street or the neighborhood that I grew up on was in selling. My dad worked in a factory, and I pretty much kind of followed the same steps. I worked at McDonald's, I worked at a gas station, and then I worked in a tire factory making tires in Kitchener, Ontario. And but I knew I wanted to do something different. And I met a couple of people that were in sales. I was around 23 years old. I'm thinking, man, I like the way that they're living. And I knew another guy that I kind of grew up with, or not grew up with, but teenage and early 20s, hanging around the bars. And this guy was driving a Saab convertible, wearing nice suits. He was a good looking guy. He was getting all the girls, and he looked like he was having a pretty good time. I thought, I think I want to get into sales. And so I got into business, and I failed miserably. I went bankrupt from those 2 businesses. I had a tanning salon, at a perfume company. We made knockoffs of original perfumes, and we would load up a van full of women. We would drop them off in a commercial district or a business district, and they would drop off samples of these perfumes. One of my other first sales jobs was driving, selling steak and seafood out of a freezer in the back of the truck. I got fired on the second day because the first day I took the truck home, and I didn't lock the freezer, and somebody came along and stole all the steak and seafood. Anyway, I didn't have a whole lot of experience around selling. As I got into business, I went bankrupt. And then I met Bob Proctor, who I work with, and he mentors me, and that really turned things around for me. I started to earn money, but honestly, I didn't really know what I was doing. But very quickly, I started to get results. Very quickly, after meeting Bob and going to this seminar, I had racked up another $40,000 in debt, and I had made $17,000 that previous year. And well, it was around October I went to the seminar. So in that year that I went to the seminar, I earned $17,000. And anyway, I went to that seminar, and I figured out why I couldn't earn money and why I wasn't doing really well. And that was a game changer. That was a turning point for me. And so then I got into selling, and I did really, really well. And then everybody started coming to me and go, hey, will you teach other people how to do it? So since like 1990, I've been selling and teaching people how to sell. And I'm really, really good at it. I'm really good at selling, and I'm really good at teaching it. But about 7 years ago, when I started working closely with Bob, I found out I didn't know a friggin' thing about selling. I've taken all kinds of sales courses. I've got all kinds of sales books on my bookshelf. I've been mentored by salespeople. I've taken sales training seminars, the whole shebang. And I realized I knew nothing about sales. And most people that are in sales that are any good, they don't even know what makes them good. They think they know, but they don't really know. And so I finally figured it out. I remember Bob saying, Doug, you've taken a lot of sales training and sales courses, things like that, because I've never done any of that. What I've done is I've learned about people, and I understand people, and that's what makes me so good at selling. And Bob is, he's really a legend in selling. I mean, he's known as America's prosperity teacher. He's known all over the world. He's taught thousands, millions, probably, certainly thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of salespeople all across the globe. And he started teaching me things that I didn't know. So tonight, what I want to do is I want to share with you, first off, the 6 major causes of failure in sales. And I'm going to give you a few things, some suggestions around selling. I'm going to give you a few steps that you can take away from this show tonight, and hopefully it helps you. All right, number 1. Most people have a lousy attitude towards selling. They got a lousy attitude towards selling. I find it so interesting. One of the first things I say to people when I meet them, if they're in sales, I ask them, so what do you think about selling? You should see the look on their face, Like, I don't think anybody's ever asked them that question. I don't think you've even ever thought of it. I think we just kind of follow the sales. I mean, a lot of people get into selling because they can't get a job elsewhere, or it's easy to get into selling. That's the good thing about selling. It's easy to get into, and it's the one place where you can make the most amount of money. Right? If you want to earn a lot of money, there's really only 2 ways to do it. Owning your own business, if you can make it profitable. And secondly, is in selling. It's the highest paid profession. People in sales earn more money than pretty much anybody else there in any other career. And so people get into selling and they just have a lousy attitude towards selling, but they get into it, and even like me, they start to do okay, and then you start to do well. Like, I started to do well, and I still didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was doing okay. And so again, part of this show is to create a turning point in your mind set, because you believe certain things about certain things, and specifically about selling. And most people have inherited a poor attitude towards selling because of what their parents told them or their parents' experiences. You watch your parents and listen to what they had to say, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of people are stuck with this lousy attitude towards selling, and they're in sales. Now, this is not just about selling products and services. This is about selling you. This applies to selling a product or service, of course. This applies to your children, selling your kids on your ideas and what it is you want them to do. This is about selling your ideas to your boss or your manager if you work at a company. This is about improving your relationships and selling your ideas to your spouse or your partner. All this relates to any area of life because you're constantly selling. You're constantly trying to convince people to get behind an idea that you have, or you're trying to help them get what they want. Okay, so number 1 is we gotta change our attitude towards selling. Another cause of failure is lack of ambition. Lack of ambition. People don't have a definite purpose or a goal that they're working towards. So they don't have a strong enough desire to get them to do what needs to be done. So a lot of people that are in selling, they want to earn some money. They want to do well. They, want to take a vacation, or, they want to have some more free time. Maybe they want a nicer car, whatever it is that you want. But very few people in sales that I've met have a crystal clear, definite purpose that really creates a desire in them, and a desire that's strong enough to get you to do the things that you're going to have to do, or the things that you don't like to do. Because there are things in selling, you're going to have to do things that you don't like to do if you want to be successful. Another problem is they've got terrible habits and no self-discipline. Most people have terrible habits. We are enslaved by habit, and you don't have very good habits. Now, it's not your fault in that nobody really taught you how to form habits. What they did is they yelled at you and barked at you and told you you should, and you should get it right. And when you didn't get it right, when you were supposed to be forming a habit, well, then you were given a hard time. You're punished, scolded, sent to the principal's office, I don't know, whatever. Go brush your teeth, whatever your parents yelled and barked at you. And they never really, set you up to form very good habits. And so it's no wonder people have very little focus and very little self-discipline. Again, because you weren't taught that. And very few people know how to form goal-achieving habits that stick. All right. So number one, you got to get a good attitude. You got to clear your attitude up around selling. We're going to talk about that. You got to have a definite purpose because that's where your ambition comes from. It'll get you to do things you don't want to do. And number three, we've got to start forming goal-achieving habits. Fourth, and this is not in any particular order. I probably should have put this at the top of the list. Procrastination. You put off doing what's important and you don't even understand what's causing your indecision. Very few people understand the root cause of indecision, which causes your procrastination. And so you put things off. Number five, you might not like this one. People have a problem earning money. I always tell people, whenever you work with me, if you work with me and you let me coach you and mentor you, you'll never worry about money again. Never worry about money again. Now, that doesn't mean your income is going to multiply overnight. For some people, it does. Their income goes through the roof very, very quickly. Other people, it takes a little longer to get them going because they don't really understand why they're not earning money. But I always tell people, listen, you better get comfortable earning money because your income is going to go up. It's going to go up and you better get comfortable earning money. So a lot of people aren't really all that comfortable earning money. They inherited beliefs, again, about money, earning money that just aren't true, and they have a hard time asking for the money. That was a big one for me. I had a hard time asking for the money. Now, a lot of the sales positions I had, I spent 25 years in the mortgage industry, in finance. And so I didn't actually really ever have to ask you for money. I would arrange, say, your mortgage for you. And then the bank that I placed your mortgage with, they would pay me a commission. So I very rarely ever had to ask you for money. Occasionally, we would have to ask the borrower for money because the bank that we had to arrange the mortgage with didn't pay us, and we had to charge the customer fee. And I remember early on trying to charge customer fees. I had a real hard time with it because I grew up with a terrible attitude towards money, people with money, people earning money. I wasn't comfortable with money. And so that's one of the biggest problems people have. Now, very few people understand that. Very few people even are aware of their attitudes or their belief towards money. And so that's why I say to people, listen, if you start working with me, you're going to start earning money because we're going to switch your mindset on money, earning money, what it actually means to earn money, like how you actually earn it. It's not trading time for money. That's not how you earn it. And there is an exact science and law to earning money. And number six, most people are reluctant to call and contact people. It's called call reluctance. Now, this applies to everything. Most people are reluctant to approach somebody about a new idea. Most people are reluctant to talk to their spouse, their partner about something because they're concerned about how they might react. So we have this call reluctance, or we have this reluctance to approach people, to call and contact people. And generally, it's because you're too concerned with what people think. Now, the good news is, fundamentally, it's just built into our human nature. We don't like to approach people and talk to people about things or convince them to do things. We just have a built-in innate nature. We just don't like to approach people and try to convince them to do things. And most of us have an underlying driving force working against us. And again, that's because we've inherited this fear of criticism, and we've inherited a fear of loss of money. Right? So fear of poverty and fear of criticism is a big underlying driver as to why we're reluctant. We're worried about what people are going to think. What are they going to say? How am I going to sound? I don't want them thinking I'm, too pushy or something like that. Okay. So basically, you got to change your attitude. You got a lousy attitude towards selling. You've got a lack of ambition because you don't have a definite purpose or a crystal clear goal that's creating ambition and desire for you. You don't have you got terrible habits and no self-discipline. You procrastinate and put off what you've got to do, the most important things It's going to cause your success, and you've got this problem with indecision. You have a problem with money and earning it and asking for it, and you're reluctant to call on people. Those are the 6 major causes of failure in sales. Now, there's all kinds of them. I could list probably 25 or 30 other things, but those for me are probably the 6 major things that you're going to have to work on and clear out. And the great thing about what we teach and what I teach people is from this book here. Bob studied this for 6 years, Think and Grow Rich, and I've studied this over and over and over again. And the basis of all of our coaching and mentoring is really built on what's in this book. I love what he says. He goes, all the excuses and alibis that you give for your own lack of achievement or success, the principles in this book, or the philosophy in this book, or the philosophy in what we teach you, which is how to shift your mindset, makes all your excuses and alibis obsolete. Now, some of you don't like that. You've got airtight alibis and excuses to justify where you're at and why you're not doing what you're doing or doing better at what you're doing. And so you can go with that if you want, or you can get really honest with yourself, get really honest with me, and let's have a real honest conversation about where you're at, where you want to go, why you're not getting there, and then let's take a look at these things that are causing the problems. So let's talk about the secret to selling you more, okay? Think about this. Would you buy from you? Would you buy from you? I love watching salespeople. I love being sold. I love buying things from other salespeople, and I love watching if they're any good at it or not, because I'm really good at it, and I really understand how to sell, and I really understand the reason I really understand how to sell is I understand why people buy or how they actually make the buying decision. So I love watching salespeople. So would you buy from you? And so one problem that we have to shore up is you probably have a self-image problem around selling, how you see yourself, how you're presenting yourself. I was on a call the other day, and a guy showed up on a call, and he's got a ball cap on, a t-shirt, and a sweater. And I said, dude, you gotta get up and get friggin' dressed in the morning. Like, you look like you make about $20, not $1 million. So you got to look like you make $1 million, not like you make $20. And so we've got to present ourselves in a good image. I just built this office here. I had the office, but I built this bookshelf and the studio, and everything. And like Bob told me, he said, Doug, you got to build a better studio. I had this really crappy bookshelf. Actually, it wasn't a crappy bookshelf. It was a very expensive bookshelf. But Bob goes, it looks like a friggin' bunch of wire and some wood planks. And on camera, it didn't look that great. I liked it when I bought it, but I kind of looked at the image that you would be looking at. Man, oh man, he's right. And so I built this beautiful office. And as soon as it was done, I bought a brand new desk and some chairs. And, I got my assistant to furnish the shelves. And instantly my image changed. I felt more confident. I just felt better, being on camera here. I wasn't self-conscious of what was behind me, and that makes all the difference. So you really got to work on your self-image, how you present yourself, how do you look, how do you talk, and then how you see yourself as well. The first thing you need to do in order to sell more is decide on how much money you want to earn. You got to decide exactly how much you want to earn. Most people want to earn a lot more than they think, or they think they want to earn a lot more than they need, and they settle for a hell of a lot less. So they think, I want to make $1 million. Well, they don't really want to make $1 million. They want to make 600,000 or whatever the number is. You got to get crystal clear on exactly how much money you want to earn to live the way that you want to live. You got to get crystal clear on what service you're going to give in return for the money. That's really important. You got to get crystal clear on what are you going to give in exchange for the money, because you do not receive anything unless you provide valuable service. That's how you earn more money. I put a little post up this week. If you want to 10x your income, then 10x the value that you bring to the marketplace. You just get better and provide better service, and your income goes up automatically. And also, you got to fall in love with the idea of helping other people get what they want, because that's what selling is. Selling is helping people figure out what they want and then showing them how to get what they want. That's the key to selling. Okay. And so you got to fall in love with the idea of selling. You got to fall in love with the idea of giving. You got to fall in love with the idea of serving. I can do this call at 11 o'clock at night. I can do this call at 6 o'clock in the morning. I just love getting on here and helping people to do more, to be more. And so you've got to fall in love with the idea. If you want to get rich from selling, then enrich the lives of the people that you're selling. If you want to get rich in selling, enrich the lives of the people that you're selling, your prospects. You need a crystal clear goal that you're shooting towards, and it must be short term. All right. You want to have long term goals. Like we have these. We want to. Pardon me. Let me take a drink of water. Cheers. Sometimes I get so friggin' fired up I can't even talk. You need a goal that is crystal clear and that you can see in the distance. Okay. Now your big goal might be to summit Mount Everest. Let's say that's your real big goal. But you got to get to base camp 1. So you need these short-term goals that you can see. If your goals are too far out, well, guess what you do? You procrastinate. I got lots of time. It's only the end of March. I'm doing pretty well. I'm off to a pretty good start. I'm a little off track, but I got lots of time to catch up. And all of a sudden the year's over and you're right back in the same freaking place you were last year. So I think it's important that you set a short-term goal, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days max, that's leading you ultimately to where you want to go. You're going to have to change your mind about selling, okay? You're going to change your mind about selling. Selling is helping, finding out what people want and helping them to get, as I said. So you got to change your mindset about selling. You've got a mindset about selling. You're probably not even aware of it. And I'm going to give you an exercise at the end of the show to clear up the mindset you've got around selling. And so you've got the right attitude towards it. You got to understand what makes people buy from you, okay? People are aspiring to be better. And they want to just do better, and they've got problems in their life that they're looking to solve or looking for you to help solve, so they can enjoy their life and avoid pain. People buy to gain pleasure or to avoid pain. Now the good news is if they're talking to you, if somebody's sitting down and talking to you, whether you approach them or they called you, either way. If they're sitting down with you, they're hoping you can solve their problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't be sitting down with you. So just the fact that if you're talking to somebody, that's good news, all right? And you have to understand that they're looking to see you to see if you can solve their problem. And so what you've got to do is understand what actually makes people buy, okay? Now, the key thing is you've got to find out what their main point is or problem and stick to it. Salespeople go all over the place. They talk too much. Really, you should probably only be talking about max 20% of the time. The only talking you really should be doing is probably asking questions and then listening to the answers. And then when you do talk, you might feedback to make sure you understand what they said. So what you're telling me, the problem is ... Did I get that right? Yeah, you got that right. Let me ask you another question. Your job is to uncover what their problems are. Find out what it is that they want, why they're not getting it, what's getting in their way. And you do that by asking really good questions. So once you find out what the main point is, you stick to it. What salespeople do is you want to take somebody down this road. They want to go down this road. Now, imagine this is sort of 5 problems somebody has, okay? My 4 fingers of thumb represent 5 different problems. And each one goes off in a different direction. Well, you got to find the main point, the number 1 point, and go down that road with them and work with them and show them how they can get what they want. Chances are, if you solve this problem, you'll solve the rest of the problems. So your job is to lead or guide people along to help them get what they want. Your job is to lead them, to show them how they can get what they want. Now, you got to understand, people don't buy from facts. They buy from emotions. Now, they do gather facts. If you're primarily left brain, you gather a lot of facts. And so you got to pay attention to whether people are left brain or the right brain. And a very simple way to do it is when you're asking questions, when they answer your question, they go, well, I think, well, they're probably left brain. They probably think a lot. And the right brain's going, well, I kind of feel like, so just listen for the word think or feel. And if they use the word think, their left brain, they're analytical, they want the facts. If they're right brain, they're more emotional, they're more intuitive, and they'll probably buy off the feeling. But ultimately, even the left brainers buy off of emotion, not based on fact. They gather the facts to make their emotional side feel safe and secure, and they're making a good buying decision. But ultimately, people buy off emotions. And so they start out wanting the facts, but the truth is they want something to help them improve their life and how it makes them actually feel, okay? So people buy off of emotion. So what the hell does that all mean? Well, what you've got to learn to do is you got to learn how to connect to people at an emotional level. I was talking to somebody the other day that I coach. She's been off and on with her sales. It's been up and down. She has a little bit of a winning streak, and she stops and starts. She has these spurts. Anyway, she sent me a text the other night, and 2 nights ago, and she said, I sold somebody within 20 minutes. And because I followed this process that you taught me, it was so easy, she said. I sold them in 20 minutes. Last night she sent me another. She goes, oh my God, I sold another person in 20 minutes. She goes, I love this. This is so easy. She goes, I was in tears with this person. She got really emotionally involved with her prospect. And the customer felt that she really, really, truly cared. And within 20 minutes, they wanted to work with her. Like you can make way more money in a hell of a lot less time if you get more effective at the sales conversation and really understanding what it is that causes people to buy it. And when you can do that, you could probably cut your sales calls from 3 down to 1, or in this case, in this person, down to 20 minutes. Okay. So you really got to understand that. You got to get really involved in what they want. Right. And how do you do that? Is you ask questions and you really, really find out what it is they want by really asking great questions and really listening. Really listening. All right. You got to put aside what's going on for you. One of the biggest mistakes people make in selling is they go into a sales conversation or a prospect call, or they're approaching somebody, phoning, texting, messaging, doing a presentation, whatever, and they're focused on themselves. God, I got to make this sale. Geez, if I don't make this, I'm going to have some problems. I mean, they might be worried about money. They might be worried about their sales targets. They might be worried about how they look, how they sound, what the person's going to think of them. They got all this junk running around in their mind. You're thinking about you. You're not thinking about the person on the other side of the table. How can you focus on what they want and help them get it if you're thinking about you? You can't. That's a big problem. All right. And so what you got to do is you got to get really involved in what it is they want and get emotionally involved with their needs and wants. I can't tell you how many times I've been in tears in sales calls because I get so emotionally involved with somebody. I get so fired up about what it is they want to do. And I really believe they can do it. Another mistake that you're making is, for some strange reason, you think that other people have, I don't know, some gift or some talent, or they're better than you, and that you can't do as well as other people. Now, you might have the evidence to back it up, but people are locked into these beliefs about themselves, these limiting beliefs about what you're capable of doing. And you think, you just look at your tax return every year and you think that's as good as it gets, and that's all that you can earn. All right. One thing you got to get really good at is asking good questions. And what you do is you ask questions that get you the answer that you want. You got to learn to love objections. You got to learn to love objections. I love them. People have a hard time handling objections. I don't handle objections. You don't handle objections. Objections are just simply the customer saying, I'm interested in what you have and how you can help me, but I'm not convinced yet. And I'm giving you clues or direct objections to tell you why I'm not convinced yet. So rather than being uncomfortable with objections, you think they're rejecting you. They're called objections, not rejections. Okay? Objections are not rejections, right? They're not quite sold yet. You haven't got them. You haven't convinced them that this is good for them yet. And you haven't really got them to want what it is that you want. Even if you really truly believe that it is good for them, you still haven't got them to want it bad enough. And so objections are welcome them. They're just simply clues to help you figure out how to help your prospect. And the last thing, and we're going to share this little article with you, it's called The Common Denominator of Success in Sales. And the common denominator is, the bottom line is, successful people form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. So if you want to sell more and you really want to understand the secret of selling you're going to have to do things that failures don't like to do. And it's not the strength of the individual. It's not your strength. It's the strength of your goals that causes you to do the things that you don't like to do. And that's back to the very beginning, because you got to lock into a really good, crystal clear goal, something you really, really want. And you got to get leverage on yourself. You got to want it bad enough, and you got to put yourself on the hook. One of my clients bought a $150,000 truck a couple of weeks ago. And it made them very uncomfortable, but it put them on the hook, and it sent a message to say, I can do this. And when you have goals like that put you on the hook, it sends a message, and it builds up a belief you can actually do it. You're not going to make some stupid move like that. Like she really felt like she could do it. It scared her, but she really felt that she could do it, and she can, and she will. And her income's going up already since she made the purchase. So that's the way that it works. That's it, Tyson. What do we got for questions or comments? I could go all night. I mean, if you want to learn to sell you more, there's certain things you're going to have to learn, and I can help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
Share the show, and maybe you'll win an hour with me, and I'll teach you how to sell.
Yeah, there's a few people, and one person specifically is all the way in Ireland who's watching this at 1:30 a.m. And she's like, I wish I am watching this. I wish that I win that one-on-one call with you.
Oh, yeah?
And a lot of the resonation, a lot of people are resonating with the objections are not rejections.
Right.
And I thought that's really cool.
Yeah.
So get into questions right away.
Okay.
By the way, everyone, if you have a question, post it in the chat right now. We'll bring it up on the screen for Doug to ask. So number one, I'm uncomfortable approaching people for my business. How do you deal with that? Deborah from Arizona.
I'm uncomfortable approaching people for my business. Yeah, well, that's you. We talked about that. So these questions were sent in advance. We post the show topic, and people send questions in. Hopefully you're watching, Deborah, or watching the replay. I don't know if you're on, but that's all about you. You said it right there. I'm uncomfortable approaching people for my business. How do you deal with that? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to deal with that in the next steps that you can take away with this. There's a few things that you've got to do. Now, you got to get over yourself. Number one, you got to take the focus off of you. I remember Bob saying, Doug, you're self-centered. Like, I'm not self-centered. I didn't know what self-centered meant. I thought it meant something else. Because, yeah, you're self-centered. I'm not self-centered. He goes, Doug, you're self-centered when you're presenting or you're speaking or you're in front of a customer. You're thinking about you. I go, shit, you're right. I'd be nervous, uncomfortable, wondering what you're thinking. How do I sound? Am I doing a good job? You got to focus all your energy on the other person or on the audience. And when you do that, you relax and you calm down. If you're thinking about yourself, you're going to be uncomfortable. You're creating your own discomfort. You gotta clear that. You gotta park at the door. You go, I'm just going to go in. I'm in love with the idea of finding what people want and helping them and showing them how to get it. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what you got to do.
Awesome. So we got a message from Chris. When I have email leads in a car sales, what is the best approach via email to convince them to get them into the dealership to be sitting in front of me?
I love that. So one of the things when I'm working with people in sales, and it's not just like when I'm mentoring clients, I'm teaching you all kinds of things. And what I teach you is how to change what's going on in your mindset and your self-image and your beliefs that cause you to approach everything in your life differently. And so a model that I follow that I learned from Bob, and he developed it by really understanding people. He said, Doug, you got to break the preoccupation barrier. You got to get their attention because they're not thinking about you. Chris, when you send an email, I'm not thinking about you. If my phone all of a sudden goes off and I see an email from you, replying back to my inquirer or whatever, I got a bunch of other things going on. Like, I'm on the show right now. Your email comes in, I'm not paying attention to you. I'm focusing on the show. So you got to get my attention. You'll notice when I open the shows, I always say something to try to get your attention. And the second step is to create interest. You got to get attention and you get interest. So you make a statement. It's kind of like going, hey, Chris, pay attention to me. You say something, it goes, oh, like you get my attention. And you do that with a statement or a question. And you can do that. You do that every time if you're in front of a prospect, an email, a phone call, a text message, any form of communication. Anytime you're communicating between you and your customer, first off, you got to get their attention. And then you got to get their interest or their curiosity up to pay attention to. Here's what you're doing, Chris. Now, you may not understand this, but this, if you guys haven't seen this guy, it's called the stick person. This is you, okay? This is your body. This is your mind. This is your conscious mind, and this is your subconscious mind, okay? It's in two parts, right? This is the thinking mind. This is the emotional mind. This is where I gather all the facts and information from you about the car. This is where I make the decision to buy the car, okay? What I've got to do, what you got to do is you got to neutralize this part of my mind. Okay, you got to neutralize it. In other words, get it focused on you and what it is you're trying to do. And you do that through questions. And so then now you got my attention and you got my interest. And what happens is through attention and interest, this part of the mind gets set aside and the subconscious part of your mind opens right up. Okay. And now with my subconscious mind open, that's where I make my buying decision. Now I'm wide open to your suggestions. And your suggestions come in the form of questions. And so that's what we got to do. You got to get their attention and you got to get their interest and curiosity to listen to you. And then you give them a question, an open-ended question to get a conversation going. And your whole conversation, even by messaging or email, it's all questions. If somebody gives you an objection, you ask them a question. You don't have to overcome the objection. You just ask them a question to deal with the objection. So it's attention and interest. Those are the first two steps. Hope that helps.
Amazing. So right before we get to the next question, I just want to bring up our Ask Doug Dane sharing contest. There's just a comment. How do we win? I joined a little late. I thought you could just explain that really quickly again to her. Yeah.
So what we do is we're obviously we appreciate you sharing the show. Just hit the share button wherever you are. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, hit share and just go hashtag Ask Doug Dane. That's how we track if you shared it or not. And then I just pull names, have a little draw, and I give away. I'm going to give away a free coaching session for selling, and that's the way you do it. Just share the show right now, whether you're watching the replay or here live, Craig, and just do that, and I'll spend some time with you.
All right. Well, from our good friend Sheena, does the sales approach change based on price, or do these tips apply to everyone and every offer?
It does not change. It applies to everyone and every single offer. It's interesting that the whole price thing comes up. That's back to people having a problem asking for the money or feeling worth the money. So if you're selling your services, your products, and you're asking people for money, especially, it's one thing if you're selling products or services. If you're selling something invisible, like I sell something invisible, okay? I take you through a program and that's kind of tangible, but what I'm doing is I'm selling you on a future promise of your future self. And that's the hardest thing to sell. That's why people in insurance make so much money, because they're selling something invisible. You got a piece of paper to say you got coverage. But when it comes to price, people have a hard time asking for the money, or it's a self-worth issue. If you got a self-worth issue, or if you're very complex, or your self-confidence is low, it's going to impact your income. And so you have to address that, and you have to understand, okay, what is the root cause of your low self-esteem? And it's got nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with your environment and what you were brought up to believe. And when you get that straight, you can let all that shit go and you can start charging. I tell people, always be the most expensive. Always be the most expensive. I learned that from Bob. He said, I'm the most expensive person in the marketplace. I always have been. I always will be. Our products and our programs are the most expensive in the marketplace because they're good. They really work. But what it also does It sends a message to yourself that you're worth it. And so, no, it's the same process no matter what, whether you're selling, $1,000 product or $1 million product. It's the same process no matter what the price is. People make their buying decision the exact same way. We all think the same way. We all make buying decisions the same way. You need to understand what that way is. And when you understand how people think, if you know I always tell people when I work with the sales, that your sales are going to go through the roof because you're going to know yourself better. And very quickly, you're going to know your customer better and your prospect better. And when you're sitting down with them, you're going to know exactly what's going on with them in a matter of minutes. Just a few questions that you know exactly what's going on. And that's how you can sell somebody in 20 minutes, because you can find out right away what they want, what's getting in their way, how to get that out of their way, and get them to the buying decision very, very fast. So it's the same process no matter what the price.
Awesome. What is a great affirmation around loving objections?
I love objections. I love them because objections are helping me help my customer. I welcome them. I love them. They're clues, they're hints. Objections help me help my customer. I love them. How do you think that? I wonder what Leah thinks about that. She may go, I don't know if I like that. That's a great affirmation. I love objections.
Awesome. So we're going to go back to the ones that we just got sent in.
Yeah.
I don't like selling, but I do love helping people. I don't want to appear too pushy or sound too salesy. Helen from Toronto.
Yeah, well, that's about you again. I often ask people, they'll say, so in the industry I was in financial services, primarily in mortgages. And people didn't even like they weren't even comfortable with the fact that they were in sales. Well, what do you do? Well, I'm whatever they call themselves, a mortgage consultant or whatever. They had these titles. Oh, so you're in sales? Well, no, I'm not in sales. I'm in financial. People have a hard time saying they're even in sales. And so what they'll do is, I don't like selling, but I love helping people. Well, that's what selling is. Selling is helping people. Selling isn't something you do to somebody. It's something you do for somebody. And nothing happens until somebody sells something. Even the person working in the convenience store. If you're thirsty, you're driving along, you go, I'm thirsty. I'm going to stop at the store. I'm going to get a bottle of water. Nothing happens until they sell it to you. Even the person running the cashier at the store, they're in sales. They have to, in order for you to get the bottle of water, they have to sell you the bottle of water. And so you're just locked to an idea with a poor attitude around selling. And you're worried about being too pushy and sounding too salesy. People say all the time, I don't want to sound too salesy. I go, what does that sound like? I don't know what sounding too salesy sounds like. That's a paradigm that you have. That's built in from a very young age when listening to your parents talk about selling or salespeople. I remember the things that I used to believe about salespeople. They're pushy. They'll just think about it right now in your mind. I want you to think, what are some of the things that you were told, and maybe type in the chat. What are some of the things you were told, or what are some of the things you believe, or what are some of the things you perceive about salespeople? They're pushy. They'll do anything to make a sale. They're dishonest. I mean, Chris earlier with the car business, man, oh man, the car industry really went through a revolution in how they were viewed. I mean, the car business, man, oh man, they had a really terrible image. Real estate agents, same thing. They've really revolutionized their image in the marketplace. And it's just purely because we were brought up to see salespeople a certain way. And so you just got to change your attitude towards what selling really is and what it is you're doing. You are helping people. That's what selling is.
Awesome, Doug. So do you think you could be successful in sales without doing lives?
I presume lives as in, like we're live right now, or people do like Facebook lives. I presume that's what April is asking. Listen, the bottom line, lives is probably more lead generation. Now, if you're not provided leads by your company, so you might work for a company in sales, or you might be self-employed, you might be in network marketing, you might be in real estate, you might be in mortgages like I was, you might be in coaching like I am now, whatever. many of you have to generate your own leads. And there's leads, there's prospects, and then there's customers. Okay. Lead generation is getting people's attention and building up their awareness and their interest. I should maybe talk to April. Sounds like she's got something that could help me. So whenever you're out there lead generating, what you're doing is you're telling people about their problems, and you tell them you can help them solve their problem. So, for example, I know you want to earn more money and have more time and money freedom. The problem is your income is stuck year after year after year, and you just can't seem to increase it. And you don't know how, and it leaves you feeling really frustrated. And you worry about your future, and you worry about money a lot. Well, I have a way. I used to be that way too, but now I don't operate that way. My income continues to go up and up and up, and I can show you how to do that. There's a live right there. Okay. And so that's a lead generation thing. You got to get them interested in wanting to talk to you. Now, when they say, April, I want to talk to you. Now they're a prospect. Now we're sitting down one-on-one, hopefully in person, optimally, face-to-face. At the very least, if you can't be in person, physically be in person like this on camera with them, talking to them so you can see them and you can read their body language and their energy. You can connect with them emotionally. Now they're a prospect. And your job is to find out what they want and help them to get it. And if they believe you can do that, they'll become a customer. So lives are one way to lead generate. You got to have a number of ways to generate leads. Lives are one way to do it. So absolutely, you can be successful in sales doing lives. I mean, I know a lot of people that just hop on live on Facebook and Instagram, and they're showing up every single day, and their business is going through the roof. Well, the nice thing about lives is you show up authentically. Like I come on the show, I just try to be myself. I don't try to be anybody but myself. I used to. I try to be myself and just be real authentic. And guess what? Here you are. You're watching. Maybe there's only one of you. Maybe there's 10 of you, but somebody's watching live or on the replay.
So I think we're coming to the end of the hour so fast.
Yeah.
And I see some people in the chat getting ready for that exercise. So
all right,
they're waiting for it.
All right. So just get your pen out, and we'll put this together in writing for you. We'll share it with you, but just grab your pen out. So first thing is ask yourself some questions. Okay. You got to ask yourself some questions. All right. Number one, what are the words that come to your mind when you think of salespeople or selling? Make a list of the adjectives that you can think of. What are the words that come to your mind when you think of salespeople? Now, here, I want to teach you a really important lesson, okay? If you want to get an answer, write out a question to get the answer that you want. What do I mean by that? So if you work with me or you hang around here at my office, you'll notice I write a lot. I write a lot of questions. For the show tonight, I wrote a bunch of questions to get me the answers to tell you what I want to tell you. So write the question out. So write yourself. Don't just think about a question. Write the question first, then think about it. So the question would be, what are the words that come to my mind when I think of salespeople? So write that question out. What are the words that come to my mind when I think about salespeople? And if you ask good questions, guess what? By law, you have to get good answers. So make a list of those things. Number two, what did my parents, and again, write the question out. What did my parents tell me about salespeople? Or what did I learn from my parents about salespeople? These are revealing questions. And number three, what was I told about earning money? What was I told about earning money? And so I mentioned earlier some of the words that might come to your mind with salespeople. I remember WKRP in Cincinnati. It was a TV show. Herb Tarlick, it was about a radio station. It was a comedy, a sitcom. And Herb Tarlick was the guy, he was the head of sales. He wore this bright plaid jacket. Always had these plaid jackets, these big colorful ties. And he drove a Chrysler Cordoba. So I drive a Chrysler Cordoba. We're talking Corinthian. I'm quoting him now. I'm obviously quoting my age here too. Anyway, I had a perception around what salespeople were like. And your parents probably told you things about salespeople. Man, they're pushy. And, I got ripped off by that guy. He was just trying to make a sale. And then your parents told you things about money. Got to work hard to earn money. Don't spend too much. Put some away for a rainy day. Whatever. Okay. Number 2, that's the first thing. Ask yourself those 3 questions. Number 2, second step. Make a list of all the things you love about helping people. Make a list of all the things you love about helping people. Think about what it is you're selling, and make a list of all the things you love about helping people. And then number 3, how does my product or service benefit people, and how does it help them do better and become better? So how does my product or service benefit people, and how does it help them do better and become better? And so when you make that list, you kind of fall in love with helping them. You see all the reasons why you can help. You got to fall in love with how your product or service helps people. Because if you don't love what it is you do, or love the products and service, you're going to have a hard time falling in love with helping them. You got to be in love with the idea of helping people. Number 4, list 6 goal-achieving actions you can do every day that would boost your sales. Make a list. What are 6 things I could do every day, every single day, that would boost my sales? And you'll think of them. I could contact more people. I could send some messages. I could follow up with people I've met before. I could ask for referrals. You make a list of 6 things you could do every day, and then begin forming the habit of doing it every day. Which leads to the last thing is create a command and give yourself a command every single day. Give yourself a command. Here's what you're going to do every single day. Every single day by 9 a.m., I am going to be on the phone calling and contacting people no matter what. And so you make up a command in writing, and you give yourself that command, and you make a decision, you attempt to keep it. Give yourself the command, make the decision, and attempt to keep it. And just do that every single day. And then one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be doing it. But you got to give yourself the command first and make the decision that you're going to do it, and then attempt to keep it. You might not keep it every day, but if you make the decision every day and attempt to keep it every day, one day you'll wake up a brand new person, and you'll be shocked at what happens to you. Okay? So that's it. Ask yourself those questions. Make a list of things, all things you love about helping people. How does your product or service benefit them, and how does it help them do better, become better? And then list 6 goal-achieving actions that you can do every single day that will boost your sales. And then create a command to get yourself to doing those things, make a decision, and attempt to keep it. And just do that every single day. And one day you won't have to make that decision, because it'll become automatic. It'll become a habit, and your sales will go through the roof. So if you want to change your results in sales, folks, you're going to have to change your mind. If you want to work with me to multiply your sales and sell more, I'll teach you all this stuff. Just reach out to me right after the show. Send me a message. I want to work with you. And Tyson can drop a link. You can go to my website. You can find me there, or send me a message through Facebook. Go to my website and send me a message. But don't sit around and don't procrastinate. So what people do, they learn things from these calls, and they go, yeah, I'm going to do that tomorrow. And guess what? Tomorrow comes, you forget. And then you remember, going, yeah, I'll do that later. And then guess what? Later comes and you forget. One thing that really good salespeople do is they make decisions very quickly, and they act on them right away. So make a decision right now. If you want me to help you, I'll help you. Send a message right after the show. That's it, Tyson. We got about 60 seconds. Anything else?
Yeah, we can. Do you want to slam one more question?
Let's slide one more in. It's 9 o'clock. 9:01.
Okay, cool. I'm good when I'm meeting people and we connect, and they like what I have to offer, but when it comes to asking them to buy, I get stuck. Nick from New York City.
Yeah. So when I've talked to Chris earlier, the first couple of steps, you got to get their attention and their interest. And then you got to create desire. You got to get them to want what it is that you want, and really get them emotionally involved in what it is they want. And you got to be emotionally involved. And the 4th step is the action step, the direction step. And that's where you're asking them to make a buying decision. And I don't really ask people. I kind of tell them. The closing becomes automatic. So Nick's getting stuck here because it's coming to the money. And your prospect knows when the money question's coming. And you can see them getting uncomfortable. And when you see them getting uncomfortable, you're getting uncomfortable. Or worse, you're uncomfortable and they become uncomfortable. So one thing you got to learn to do when you're in selling, right? If you got something going on in your mind that's making you uncomfortable, you're sending what's called a double binding message. You're going, Nick, I want to help you. I really want to help you do better and become better. But inside I'm going, man, oh man, when it comes to asking for the money, I don't know. Is he going to give me the money? Is he going to say I can't afford it? So if you're thinking anything negative or contradictory to what it is you're trying to do to try to help them, that's a double binding message. And you're sending energy. Okay, so you communicate at a conscious level by speaking and by presenting, okay, and your gestures, right? But you also communicate vibrationally, energetically on a subconscious level. You're sending messages from your mind to their mind. Now, they're not aware of it, but they pick it up. You know what they say? When they pick it up, they go, let me think about it, Nick. You know, it's a little expensive. I probably should talk to my spouse. And so you get them excited. They really want it. And all of a sudden, let me think about it. Because what's happened is you sent a double binding message because you're worried about the money objection. You're worried about asking for the sale. You're worried about asking for the money. Whatever's going aside for you, you're sending a negative message. They're picking up on it. They're going, let me think about it. And that's what happens.
Amazing.
That's it, Tyson.
I'm going to bring on Aaron too. Aaron.
Hey. What show? I learned a ton of stuff, and I'm not even in sales, but maybe I'll get it.
You're in sales. Trust me. You're constantly selling me your ideas over dinner. You're in sales. Listen, I want to thank you too, as always. Thanks for you that are watching. If you're live or on the replay, share the show. And next week we'll come up with something. I got something cooking for next week. So
awesome.
Thanks again. All right. Have a good night.
Great.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.